Go download my free legato course right now and learn to play fast in the fastest way possible. Hey, so what's the fastest way of learning how to play fast? Not that everything is about playing fast, but it's fun, right? It's fun to be able to produce those fast runs and that impressive stuff and put it in the middle of a solo, especially if you're playing in front of somebody, right? It's an added element to music. So how do we get there as fast as possible? Well, we know the slowest way of getting there. That's alternate picking. That's absolutely the technique with the most challenges built into it. But I would say that hammer-ons and pull-offs, although not easy, it's pretty easy to do on a basic level, but really becoming good at it, of course, requires some practice. But if you then add the concept of the sixth finger, as I call it, which is basically... And this is the fastest way of playing fast. I'm just going to give you a really cool sequence that you can start practicing that will prove it to you that you can get this up to speed in no time. And what it basically is saying, okay, instead of thinking like, okay, I got 3 fingers working one string, right? We got 3 note per string shape. Right, that's a normal layout. But then instead of playing the 3rd note on each string with the 3rd finger or the 4th finger on your left hand, you play it with the 1st finger on the right hand. And I got a fret wrap. I just learned that that's what they're called. Just so you can look them up on the internet and get one. They're relatively inexpensive. This is a Velcro one that you just wrap around the fret. And it just makes the... Let me see if I can... To some degree, they dampen the strings, right? And they won't ring out as much. You can learn to mute the whole thing, as we do in our online course, Hard Rock Academy. Well, you don't need one of these, but they're really neat if you do a lot of these. You can also have just a simple head wrap, not a head wrap, but the stuff you use to do a ponytail, right? And then just have it there, and then just slide it up whenever you need to do one of these things. So let's have some fun. Let me show you a sequence that you can do, but that's really effective. There's one I played in the beginning there. But what you need to focus on when you practice this is timing and accurate execution. Because sometimes doing this can be so relatively easy, but what's hard about it, or I shouldn't say hard, because nothing is hard on this instrument. If you take your time, it's always, when we want it to happen fast, right? It can be, we say it's hard to do a chord in the beginning, but that's because we struggle to really just make the chord happen, right? Because it's really, but this, once you've got, a fair amount of control over fretting a note, then this is not hard. What you need to do is do slowly accurate repetitions without rushing, and I promise speed will come or follow by itself. But what you need to focus on is timing, right? Because when something becomes easy, then you need to control it, you need to discipline it. And so you can absolutely practice it with the metronome or go, oh. So you can have the right tempo, because if you don't, you cannot control the 2 hands together either, right? So it's like... It has to be really... In order to get to that, you have to really control timing, because the shorter you have in between the notes, i.e. the faster you play, the more accuracy becomes of the essence. Otherwise, the fingers will be struggling to, when should I hit the note and when should I do it? And suddenly it just sounds like and that's not what we want, right? We want that fluent feeling. So let's look into the sequence and nail it. And come closer. Let's look into it. What I do here is basically extremely simple. Let's look at it on one string, and then it's the same on all strings. We have the minor pentatonic laid out here in the first position, all the notes in the 12th fret. And then I got the 15th on the low E string, and then 12 and 14 on the A, the D, the G, and then 12 and 15 on the B and E string. That first position minor pentatonic. And so the sequence looks like this in its root form here. You start with the note in the 15th fret. I use my 3rd finger because it's the strongest. I can also use my 4th, but then I noticed that when I do that for tapping like this in a pentatonic 2-note per string thing, I often take my 3rd finger, put it on top of the 4th, so it gets extra strength. You can also use the 3rd. So pick that note, then palm your pick here in your hand, and then go for the 1st finger on your right hand, or you can simply just keep it there and tap with the middle finger instead. Whatever feels most comfortable to you. So pick the note in the 15th fret and hammer on to the 17th from the 2nd position of the minor pentatonic. So I should go pick that or hammer on, tap in the 17th fret and pull off, and then pull off down to the 12th. And then I tap again in the 17th fret and pull off down to the... It sounds like this. And I can circle that on 1 string, and that's your first exercise. And get the timing right. That's really the challenge. It's not so much the movement, it's the timing. So use a metronome. Like that, right? And then you just go to the next string. You play once here. And then you do the B string and do the same thing. Hammer on in the 15th. Tap in the 17th, pull off, and then pull off from the 15th to the 12th, and then tap in the 17th fret and pull off again. And now before you move, it's exact same thing, exact same frets, just another string. Before you move on to doing all the strings here, now you have your second exercise. It's a 2-string exercise. This was a 1-string exercise, and then you develop that into a 2-string. Once you're very good at doing it on 1 string, you can hammer on the B string in the 13th fret, and then you can play twice on each string. Right? And then once that is comfortable, you can start doing all of the strings. And now you know that you can go both ascending and descending with this sequence. You just simply shift to the next string. So the G string would look like this. You hammer on in the 14th fret, tap in the 16th and pull off again down to the 14th, and then pull off down to 12, and then tap in the 16th and then pull off again. Right? So right, then you have the notes in the 12th, 14th, and 17th fret on the D string. Sorry. Alright, same thing here, same frets on the A string. And then we got the 12th, 15th, and 17th on the low string here. Exactly the same as the high E string. Then you just return back to the A string and D. Right? It's extremely simple and very effective. If you want more of this 6-finger technique, as I call it, go check out the link just below here. But you can, start applying this already, right? You can start coming up with different stuff, like just going up and down. Or playing some of the stuff you usually play with your left hand, with the left and the right hand, replacing the top note with your right hand index finger, right? So you don't need us necessarily, but you can go check it out and see what's in it, and it's a pretty good thing we got lined up for you. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video tomorrow. Subscribe for more free videos. Do it. Do it now. Do it.